All right, welcome everybody. Maybe you know me. My name is Darren from the Office of Instructional Technology. I'm the LMS specialist. With me today, I have Morgan Thompson, a brand new member to our team. She's going to be our LMS teacher specialist moving forward, I think starting Monday. So welcome, and she'll be in the chat today. So let her know if you have any questions, and we're going to move on to what I think is the best session today. I've been looking forward to this. This is the one I really wanted to share just because there's some new stuff. I only get to a lot of times email you about it. I don't get to actually show it. So today is a time for me to kind of briefly show you some new features in Brightspace, some new tools, some additions, and give you a chance to try them out. I'm not going to go into super deep depth on how to use all of them or even a lot of classroom application, but because I do want to show you multiple things today, but I will give you a chance to practice, and I'm going to share the presentation with you right now so that you have links to the tutorials and directions sheets at your fingertips in the presentation. So feel free to use those as we move forward. So getting started, probably the best tool that I think has come out of Brightspace and since I've started is probably the media library. I think it's a great place to just house everything that you do with your students. And I think media is a great way for us to communicate with our students, and then our students can to communicate their thinking with us and their learning with us as teachers. I know one of the most recent uses of media is world and classical languages sharing video, and American Sign Language sharing video of students showing their learning through Brightspace assignments. What's nice is the media library offers a place to not only build content but also house and organize all of your content. The best thing about it, and I just did a session on copy, where you have to take stuff from one course and push it or pull it to another course. The media library is not course specific. It's specific to your entire Brightspace account. So anything that goes into media library is accessible from not only the course that you're currently in, but if you move to another course, that same media is available to add to that course. So it's available across Brightspace, similar to Portfolio. So like I said, you can create, upload, and edit within media library. Anything that you create in a course, like a video note, goes into the media library to then be accessible and available in another course. So that's one of the, I think, best things about it. Media library is easily accessed. It's in the class tools in navbar. It's also, if you go to your gear, your organizational tools, you'll see it as one of your choices in the organizational tools. Just look for media library, or you can look for this icon if you use the icon based navbar right here, this green and pink one. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to give you a quick demo and then you can try it out. So I'm going to start in media library. So from any course, I can access my media library. Like I said, it's in class tools. Just scroll down and I have access to my media library, or I can head into my organizational tools, and I'm just going to show you this. Most of you won't see anything like this, but uh, I'll never find it here. But for you, there's 3 or 4 choices. I don't even know. Oh, there it is. It's right at the top, but uh, you can find it there easily. Trust me. Just a heads up. So within your media library, there are different filters. One that I have as a system admin, I have ownership. So what's nice is if a teacher reaches out, I could find media from any student. So that's a nice thing about this. But you can also filter by content type, source, date modified, or date created. So there are some nice filters. You can also search. So we're going to get into naming your media in a second. Naming your media is important. So using some type of naming convention so you can find things later is an important thing to remember to do when you're naming your media. Once you apply a filter, you will typically have to hit the search button just to apply and you can see the media that you want. You can see here, this is a mixture of media that I've either created in my courses or that I've uploaded to Media Library. You can add to Media Library in two ways. You can upload a file. So if you have something that you've downloaded on your device, you can upload that into your Media Library. Then it's there for you to edit, rename, and then use in any of your courses. You can also record in Media Library. For those of you who use video notes in your courses, this is essentially creating a video note that's housed in Media Library and then can be used in any of your courses. If you click on Record Webcam, it'll look very similar. You can also make it just an audio only recording if you prefer. Once you click on New Recording, you will record your audio for eCoach Day. And when you're done giving your instructions or feedback to the student or directions for the day, you'll stop recording. You can hear it. We're going to go ahead and hit next. I'm going to give it a name so I know what I'm looking for. We're going to choose a language, and we're going to automatically generate captions for anyone watching this media. Once we're finished, once we're all done, we're going to click on Finish. Let it render. And you can see down, I don't know if you can see that down here in the corner, it's about 63% complete. So it's just going to take a second to process, and then it'll show up in our list. Adding media from your device works very easily. You just upload file. You would choose your media. We'll just choose that one. And again, you can see it's processing and it'll be uploaded into my, my media library. Sorry, moving a little bit slow today. So once you have the media in your media library, you have these three dots. Don't forget, you can also sort your media here too by modified, when it was modified. If I click on the three dots, I have the option to preview. I can download it. I can edit, rename. I can edit the description. I can transfer ownership of the media if I want to, or I could delete the media if I no longer need it. So you have some options when you click on the three dot menu next to any of your recordings or uploads. If I want to rename this, easy to do. Changes it right there. I can also edit the media. So this is nice because your media does not come in with closed captions, but you can add closed captions to your media once it's in your media library. If you've created a video note, that's part of the process of creating a video note. But if you just uploaded a video from your device that doesn't have closed captions, Brightspace will do that for you. So I'm going to click on the closed captions. Table of contents is also something you can do as well. We have directions on how to do that. I'm not going to get into that today. Once you click on closed captions, you're going to auto generate those closed captions. And it'll go through that process. Just make sure during your prompts, if it asks you for language, you're choosing the language that the video is in. So if you were using English to create your video, or the creator of the video used English, make sure you choose English or Spanish or whatever the video was created in. It's the table of contents option. I'm not seeing it on my page. Okay, I'm just reading a question, sorry. We're going to let that process. While that's processing, I'm going to head back to my media library, adjust my filters here. You can see that I've uploaded, and here's the new video I uploaded. If I go to answer the question, if you click on the three dots and edit, this is next to your video, closed captions should be right here in the video editing area. Yeah, it has been around. We just haven't been using it, and it's been completely redone. So yeah, that's a good point. It has been there. It just hasn't been as user friendly. So it's part of a new kind of push along with Creator Plus to make things a little more user friendly. So I think that's been uh, a nice addition. All right, so now is your chance to go ahead and play with this. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't show you how to add from media library. Let me do that really quick. Let's go into content. So there's a few different ways to add from your media library. I feel like I'm saying library strangely today. So if I head into one of my units, I'm going to start by just straight up adding a video. So I'm going to go into add existing. This is an existing video. I'm going to scroll down to more, and I'm going to look for media library. Once I've done that, I have to adjust some filters just because I see a lot of stuff. There we go. I have to zoom out. I apologize. I can't see everything. There we go. And you can see here, there's my eCoach video. I'm going to select it, hit next, and I'm going to insert that video. So now my students, once visible, will have a direct link to that video right from content. Other
Darren, I'm
ways,
sorry. Can you do that again? I was trying to follow you and I'm missing something.
sure, yeah, sure. So select where you would want the media to be. So I'm just going to put it right at the unit level. Add existing, more, and select media library. Once you're in media library, you can search or find the media. Ignore what I'm doing here. I'm just,
That's it. Thank
and
you.
then, yep,
I was
there you go.
trying to add new instead of existing.
Yep,
Thanks.
yep, just gotta, yeah, it's an existing video because it's already in the media library. Another way to do this is you can add this really anywhere that insert stuff is available. So let's say I'm going to create a new HTML document. And this can go in an assignment, it can go in announcements, it can go in activity feed. So pretty much essentially anywhere. So I have my HTML document. I'm going to go to insert stuff. And I'm going to insert from my media library. Here you do have to do a search. And there it is. Next. There's my preview. I can adjust the width and height if I want, width and height if I need to, and I can insert my video. There it is. Save and close. So I ever recommend keeping something untitled, but just for the sake of time today, we're going to leave that as untitled. Another place that you can add media, let's say I'm in an assignment. I'm creating a new assignment. I want to add a piece of media in an assignment. So again, anywhere you see the Brightspace editor, which is this part here, all of this is called the Brightspace editor. You can use the quick link as well. So I'm going to scroll down, select media library. Here you don't have to do a search, but you have your filters. So you can filter out video. There's my eCoach. Next, insert. And then here it just puts in a link. So insert stuff will embed it right in the instructions area. Quick link will add it as a link for the students. So that's really the big difference between insert stuff and quick link. So that was very quickly the media library, how you can create or upload into your media library, but then also have that content or media to add to any of your courses across Brightspace. So it's 229, let's go to 235. Take a minute, explore, play with it, ask questions. I think I see a question here. So think of this as Google Drive. Yes, exactly. Yeah, Alex. Yeah, in a way it's, yeah, you don't have to house your media in your Google Drive. It's more, you can house all of your media that you use in Brightspace within Brightspace, and it's easily accessible. Good point. So yeah, feel free to unmute if you have any questions during this time as you're playing around with this.
Darren, we had the question come up. Is there a limit to how much you can store in there size-wise?
As far as I've been told, no. I know the limit it's a 30-minute limit for the video if you're creating it. As far as I know, if you uploaded an hour-long video and you wanted to use it, as far as I know, it'll be fine. It might take a while to render. The closed captioning would take a long time, but you should be fine. If you run into limits, please let me know. But I've been told there is no limit. Yeah, Patricia, I like your comment. Yeah, if you create that video once and you had 3 classes that had a sub today, you just upload that video 3 different times, hopefully very painlessly. Yes, good question. I forgot to mention that. Yes, students have access to media library as well. So if they create a video note, their video note is saved in media library. So like if a student uses video note to answer as their file to submit for an assignment, that is kept in their media library.
Darren, can I ask a question?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, if so I'm writing the financial algebra curriculum that's only in Brightspace. If I have stuff in the media library for that course, is that going to get uploaded when somebody takes it and puts it in theirs? Or does it just stay in my media library?
Um, it should go. Yeah, as long as it would be an associated course file. As long as they copy everything, it'll go.
Okay,
Yes.
just one of those random questions that you've
No,
kind of
that's
figured. Yeah,
yeah, good
thank you.
question. But I think yes. Let's test
Okay,
it
okay.
just to be sure. But yes, I think so. Miss Young, does your web now? Unfortunately, they don't have so there is another tool that Brightspace has that does allow for screen capture that we are not using just because it involves putting software on every machine in the district, and we have not figured out a way to do that yet. It's not cloud-based like a lot of their other tools. So as soon as it becomes cloud-based, I think it will be a part of Brightspace, but it just not there yet. Yep, we video, yes. So, but again, once you put in we video, then you can put that into your media library to be used in all your courses. Yeah, I agree. A screen capture would be great. Um, I typically just use Windows G on my machine and just do a screen capture that way. Miss
What's
Tatum,
Wind? Oh, sorry. What's Windows G? Windows G.
it's a shortcut to the onboard Windows screen capture video tool.
Oh, not the snipping tool.
No, something different.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's I think gamers use it to like record their gaming sessions. I think is kind of how it
Oh,
started.
like with Twitch or something.
Something like that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't game, but I know Windows G gets me there, and I can quickly do a screen recording without having to open up WeVideo, save it to Brightspace or my drive, and share it. So, Miss Tate, I'm not exactly sure how to answer your question.
Okay, so one of the links that I made in content, and I used the same video twice. One of them, the little icon to the left of it, looks like press play, it's a video. The second one looks like a piece of paper. So I must have done something different, but I don't know what.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it sounds like you just used a different tool, whether that be HTML versus a direct link. Maybe we can talk at the end, and you can show me.
Sure.
Okay. All right, let's keep moving. We're at 2:35. So I did want to move on to another newer um, feature, I guess we'll call it, in Brightspace, and that is assignment availability dates. So availability dates have been around for everything from content to announcements to assignments, but assignments, they've added another layer of what you can do with those availability dates. And really what you can do is control the access to an availability date, or sorry, access to an assignment before, during, or after the assignment and what it looks like to the student. So you could have it completely hidden. You could have it visible with just access restricted, or you could have it visible with submission restricted. So there are different options for you to add to those. There's also the ability to set defaults. So it'll just happen for every assignment that has availability dates in the future. And that's done in course admin. So as you can see here, I have a screenshot here of an availability date, and before the start, it's hidden. After the end date, it's visible with submission restricted. So that means the student would still see it in the assignments tool or even in content, but they would now no longer be allowed to submit to it. So they could refer back to the assignment, just no more submissions would be accepted. So it just kind of adds, it just fine tunes how the availability dates work in assignments. This is only in assignments. I can imagine it'll be coming to other tools, just like other things that have been happening in Brightspace. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Oh, and also I forgot to mention, you can also add availability dates to the calendar now. So the dates, the range will be in the calendar for students. So if you're using the Brightspace calendar, it'll show the start date and the end date for different assignments, as well as the due date. What was access restricted again? So I believe yes, they would see it in the assignments tool or content, but they wouldn't be allowed to go to it. It would just be there, just knowing it's still there. So yeah, Um, so let's go ahead and I'll just show you how to do that, and then I'll give you some time to play. This one won't take me as long as the last one. So let's go ahead and go into class tools, and I'm just going to do this right in the assignments tool. So you can see I've already set up a few here, and this is what it would look like to you and essentially to your students as well. It would tell them, this is the assignment. It's available from these times, and it's access restricted before availability starts. So they would see it, but there would be no access to it. They wouldn't be allowed to click on this, our students. And then after the availability, this assignment here would be available, but they wouldn't be allowed to submit to it anymore. So it would take away that submission rights. In the past, availability was just like you can't see it until the availability date comes, and it's gone when the availability date ends. But now you get to kind of change that a bit. So setting one up, let's go ahead and I'm just going to edit one that I already have going here. Let's do this one. We'll edit this assignment. So having I have my due date here, but I'm gonna head over to availability. And once I put in a date, I can then adjust what happens before the start. So I can have it visible with access restricted, visible with submission restricted, or just plain up hidden. Students have no idea it's even there until availability date arrives. I can also decide if I want it on the calendar or not. And that's really just a personal preference. Some people might see it as more clutter, too much for the students. Others be like, I want my students to have all the information that I can give them. Once you've selected how it'll look before or what will happen before, click done. Then you can select what will happen once the end date arrives. Again, this one I like submission restricted. It's still available to my students. They just can't do anything with it anymore. And I do want it on the calendar. Don't forget that even if availability dates are enabled, you still have to make it visible. Students won't have any access until it arrives, but you do have to make it visible. The availability dates will not turn on visibility automatically for you. So make sure you turn on visibility. Once you're done, you can save and close. Now, I also mentioned that there are defaults. So if you head into your course admin, you might notice a brand new option before course offering information, and that is availability date defaults. And this will be for your assignments and for discussions. So you can decide what happens with availability dates for all assignments and all discussions moving forward. So if you put an availability date, these conditions will be applied to all assignments and all discussions. So you get to choose that. I cannot remember what the defaults are. I think they're hidden. I think they start off as hidden, but you'll find that out if you've never done this once you go in. Once you've selected what you want, I'm going to do visible with access restricted and visible with submission restricted. That'll happen for all my assignments moving forward as I create new. Quickly, while we're here, I want to go in and I just want to show you what this would look like to a student. So go ahead and see the assignments tool. If you want to start playing, feel free. If you want to see this part, go ahead. We'll, let's say 2:45, we'll move on to the next section. So we'll take about 4 minutes to play around with this time. So you can see.
Jen, there are also a couple of questions in the chat as well.
Perfect.
So the first one was, if the Brightspace assignment is a link to a Google form, would they still be able to click it?
I would say leave that access restricted. So if you put anything in the instructions, they would probably have access to it. So I would say access restricted or hidden before the availability date if you're just using a link to something. But I would have to test that out just to be sure.
Then there's a question about the AACPS late policy, and are we allowed to do that? In terms of, I guess, restricting access. Alex, maybe you can clarify your question.
Yeah, my thought is with assessments, we're allowed to keep them open the whole quarter, right? Or at least 2 weeks after.
Right.
So we just got to be careful with that, I'd say.
Yeah, I think you would have to maybe talk to your administration about that. But yeah, I just wanted to show you this option within assignments.
Okay.
You can see right here, you can see the student, it says, I have access restricted before availability. So the student can see it, but can't access it. So that's what I would do. Like if you have a link to something, I would leave it as hidden or access restricted so the student can't get into the assignment. Once the availability date it has passed, you know, I like the submission restricted so they can still see what it is. But again, if you're using Google Form, I would do hidden or access restricted. So you really just have to decide what it's going to work best for you. Were there any other
quick question?
questions? Yeah.
Under availability there, your first item is black. The next two are blue. I'm presuming that the ones that are blue are links, but the one that's black is not. So
right. So this one you can see is access is restricted before the availability date starts. So this doesn't become available to the student until March 2nd. So that means this student, I'm in as a student now, can't even access this. They can see the criteria, they can see when it'll be available in the assignments tool, but they can't click on it because I didn't want them getting in before the start date. This one, so it became available on the 28th. So this one is open currently right now, so the student can get in. Again, this one here, this one is available with submission restricted. So the student can get in and preview, but would not be allowed to submit it. So if you wanted to give students early access to start working on something, they could start working, but just wouldn't be able to submit the assignment.
okay, I'm sorry, maybe I'm a complete dolt.
You're fine.
All right, that first one, you got access restricted. So we set a start date.
Yep.
And there's a before the start date option. And then we set an end date. Ah,
Yep.
I missed that.
Yeah, that's why it's not blue, because the student can't get in. Yeah.
All right.
It's
Thank
access
you.
restricted. No problem. Any other questions before we move on to the next piece? It's kind of a big one.
There was one.
Yes.
Ms. Krasnick said, if they can't access it before the availability date, will that ensure it doesn't preemptively show up in their work to do?
Yeah, I think if it's hidden or access restricted, it shouldn't show up in work to do. I think if you want to be sure, use hidden. Yeah, hidden would be the most restrictive. Actually, yeah, if it's access restricted, It may, no, it probably won't show up. It shouldn't show up. Good question. All right, so that is the new availability dates. So let's go ahead and move into, that's a student, so I want to get out of there. So now a new one that some of you may or may not have noticed is the new quiz workflow. So quizzes, the way we create quizzes in Brightspace is changing. So as of June, this will become the only way to make quizzes in Brightspace. Right now we have it set so you can opt in to the new quiz workflow, or you can stick with the old quiz workflow. What's nice about it is it mirrors the way that we create assignments, which I think is way better. Honestly, I always avoided quizzes because I hated creating a quiz because it just didn't work for me the way it was set up. Mike, did you have a question?
No, just bumping buttons.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no worries. So yeah, I think it's much better. And just a heads up, this is also coming to another, oh man, it left me. You're going to see the same kind of workflow in a lot of the tools within Brightspace. So they're slowly getting updated to all look the same, and the creation process is going to be the same. I believe it's discussions. Discussions is going to start looking more like this as well. So you have easier access to all the advanced features within a quiz. They're in better spots, and it's just easier to understand what's going to happen if I select this option within a quiz. Also, the preview is a lot nicer. I like the improved paging options. You can decide how the quiz gets paged. One question per page, 2, 3, however you want to do it. You still have access to the question library. This is also, one of, I think, a good practice to get into is creating your quiz items in the question library and then adding from there, rather than just creating new items every time you make a quiz. Work in the question library and then bring them into your quizzes. Similar to media library, you create in media library, then bring it into the content tool or the assignment or wherever you want to put it. And like I mentioned, it's opt-in until June, so you might get a prompt the next time you make a quiz if you haven't made one in a while. Do you want to turn on the new quiz workflow, or do you want to wait? So that's will be your choice up until June. So we're going to get into this just for a few minutes. I'll give you a chance to play as well. Ms. Young, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Darren. Can you repeat how to get to that those defaults again?
For the quiz,
Turn it on.
Are you seeing the old quiz workflow?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I think I can do that. Give me 1 second. Let me save what I did last time here, and we are going to head into the quiz tool. So I go into class tools and quizzes. And if you are still seeing the old quiz workflow and you did not get a prompt, there should be a big, well, actually, that's if we start a new quiz, I'm going to edit an old quiz. So start a new quiz or edit a quiz. I would start a new one if you want the new quiz workflow. You might get a prompt at the very top. If you don't, you should see a small drop-down arrow right above availability dates that would say, welcome to the new quiz. Leave it on or turn it off. So that would be your choice. I'm going to leave it on because I like it. I think it's way better. So looks very similar to assignments. You start off with a name. You can give it a grade. I've already given this one a grade. I'm going to edit and I'm going to put this in the grade book. So I'm going to go ahead and edit or link to an existing grade item. I usually choose that first one. I'm just going to call it New Quiz Workflow eCoach Day. Looks good to me. And I'm going to hit OK. So we have 2 points. It's in my grade book. I'm going to throw a due date on there. We'll call it the 3rd. I put in my description. This is just for me, for my quiz. And then we move down to adding questions. So like I said, if you have worked in the question library, then we can look at that in just a second, how to get there. If you're not familiar, you can actually add existing items from your question library. So you've created or brought in a bunch of items, test items into your question library. You can add from your question library here. So I have question here. It's already in a section. I'm just going to bring over the whole section and the quiz. And I'm just going to click on import, and I'm going to bring that into my quiz. So you can see here now I have a new section in my quiz, and I have a question to go into that section. Rearranging is super simple. I can, if I don't, let's say I don't want this question 1 in section 1, I can just drag it and put it out here. So now it's out here by itself. It's not in the section anymore. If I want it in the section, I can grab the dots, drag it here, and now you can see it's within the section. So if I want to have sections within my quiz, I can. If I don't want them, I can always get rid of them as well. Check out, and I'm not going to go into this. This isn't a quiz making. I just want to show you the new workflow. So you will have to take some time to play with this. We do have directions on how to do all of this. But if I select any section or question, I have some options. I can move it to the top, move it to the bottom, and I can move it to a new section. Other actions I have, I can delete it, I can add it, I can align it to standards. Note, you have to put the standards in the course first, so the course already has to have standards. That's done in the standards tool. I can have other options as far as toggle a bonus, toggle it mandatory. I can set specific points, or I can even publish a question to the lore for others to use in the learning object repository. Other options I have is I can create new questions right here. So I can create a new question. I have all of my choices here for creating a new question. I do like this process as well. Very easy, simple, clean. I know it's multiple choice. It's like, oh, last minute I decide I want this actually to be true, false. I can put in my text, make sure it's true. I have options here. If I want feedback or hints based on an answer, I can add all of that right here. I can change the point value. And then down here, I can either save and create a new one right here without having to go back to my original screen, or I can copy this, then just change it, or I can just straight up save it. And it's here. There's question 4 right there. I want to make sure question 4 is actually in section 1. So I'm going to move it here just by dragging and dropping. I no longer want question 3. So I'm just going to check it, and I'm going to go ahead and delete it. So there's lots of ways to play around with what your quiz will look like. At any time, you can go ahead and preview the quiz by clicking the preview button. And you can see what it'll look like when the student comes in. Click on Start Quiz, and the student and you'll be able to see what it would look like as a student. Okay, and that's all it would be right now. This opened up in a new window, so when I'm done, I can just go ahead and close that out. So now what's brand new, if you remember the old quiz flow, you had these tabs across the top. And to be honest, I never knew what a lot of them even meant. So I really like this. I think the headings for each of these options is more self-explanatory. Just like our assignments, we have availability. You don't have those granular, restricted access and such like you do in assignments like I just showed you. It's just start date, end date. You have your release conditions. So if you want this to appear after a student looks at a piece of content or successfully completes an assignment or successfully completes another quiz, you can add those release conditions. You can also give special access to a quiz. So one student can have access to just to this quiz, or you can give access to this quiz outside of a specific due date for a specific student. You can also password protect your quiz by putting in the password here. Next, we have our timing and display area. You can manage how much time students have. This is nice, the paging option. You can have all questions together. You can have 1 per page, 5 per page, and you can even prevent going back to previous pages if you wanted to. So there are a lot of nice options there. You can shuffle the questions for students. You can allow hints. You can disable email, instant messages, and alerts within Brightspace. So a little bit of security there. You can also add a header and a footer in this area. So this is all in timing and display. Next, you have attempts and completion. So this one I have set to unlimited attempts. Here you would just manage, maybe students are going to get 5. Decide, are you going to keep the highest, lowest, first, last, and so forth. You can also set up a notification email for yourself or other teachers when students complete. So that's all in the attempts and completion area. And finally, you have your evaluation and feedback. What's nice, since this is in the grade book, it's all multiple choice or true false. I can actually auto publish this, and then I can stick it in the grade book, so students will right away get feedback as soon as it's auto graded by the system. When published, you can display to learners, what they get, what they see. Are they going to get just their grade, or are they going to get everything they had correct, incorrect, all questions with correct answers, all questions without correct answers? So what students see once they submit is customizable as well. And you could even customize that even more here. So I know I'm showing you a lot, but I do want to give you time to just kind of explore this a little bit. You probably won't have enough time to create a quiz right now, but you may get one started. Before I give you that time, I just wanted to show you just real quick the question library that we mentioned earlier. If you are in your quiz tool from Class Tools, you'll see you can manage your quizzes, or you can go to question library. This is where you can create and then add later. So you can create your different sections and quiz items here. So you can add a new section or any of the question types here. So like I mentioned, quiz creation workflow, this link will get you to our directions on how to do that. But let's take a few minutes to answer some questions and also give you some time to explore. So let's say we are done at 3:10. So let's say 3:02. We'll give you a few minutes to explore. Tammy, did you get your question answered? Will these move over with the curriculum move?
So I know that before, when they moved over curriculum, the tests and everything that were created didn't move over with them. Will the question banks or the question libraries move over?
They can be copied. Yeah, they can be copied over
Okay.
from one course to another. Yeah, you can.
So that one can do that. That's
Yeah, I think
kind
you
of
can
fun.
also put question libraries into the lore and then move them that way.
Okay. Well,
Yes.
you and I can talk about that.
Yeah, sure.
Because we were told not to, or when I was doing it last year, I don't know if we just didn't know, but when we started this, it was not, I wasn't allowed to put anything in the lore.
Yeah, we're not really using it a lot, mostly because it is going away. Eventually, they're going to have what's called a content store, which I
Okay.
think will be more similar to like media library. It'll be more
Gotcha.
easily accessible and follow you from course to course, like the lore does. But we'll have the ability to set up folders and really organize it in a much cleaner way.
Miss Sherman, that's what we're talking about. But I can, so if I wrote it and I put it in mine, when they upload their curriculum, they'll get all of the question banks or
Yeah,
question libraries with it.
yeah, you can copy over a question library.
Okay. And then they can just create from there their tests or whatever.
Yes, yeah.
Got it.
So a lot of time when we get a new let's say a new curriculum from a publisher, they will have a question library file that comes along with it, and that can be uploaded into the course. So then you don't have a bunch of quizzes, but you do have a bunch of questions that you can use to create quizzes. I guess similar to Performance Matters in a way. There's
Right.
Tammy, what's the curriculum move? Do you mean like the curriculum writing?
So financial algebra is a course that all the high schools or some of the high schools are running right now, and we don't have a per se curriculum guide. The course has been integrated into Brightspace from the beginning, so everything has already been uploaded there. And so that's why, Alex, I'm a different body to the rest of everybody because nobody else is. This class was the pilot class in creating it. So the only way that anybody teaching financial algebra gets their content or curriculum guide is by uploading it from the template one. It's special.
very special, and I think it's the way we'll eventually go, I think, too.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, it hasn't been bad, but it's a lot of front work on my end to get
Yes.
everything in. But it's definitely, from what everybody said, has been nice to have it in there and ready to roll.
I think CTE is looking into this too,
Yeah. Oh,
doing it
okay.
that way. So yeah.
So
Thanks, Morgan.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for all the work you're doing in that. I think it, like you said, it's great for everyone.
I'm
in the
very
long run.
excited about the question library. Like, hmm.
So overall, how are we feeling about the question library? All right, I'm sorry. I got question library. Question library is great, but the new quiz workflow. I know Mr. Vigna likes it. He chimed in right away. So good. Yeah, I think it's a nice improvement. All right, so we're running up on time. Story of my life, but it's okay. 9 minutes left, so we're going to quickly get into Creator Plus. There were 2 sessions about Creator Plus this morning that went into way more in depth. I've down here at the bottom of I've linked back to the session descriptions document that you all got in, had the meet links in this morning. We're actually going to swap out those meet links for session recordings and resources slide decks. So if you want an in-depth look at Creator Plus, refer back to that in a few days, and you're going to have the session recordings and the resources there. Just wanted you to give you a heads up there, but I'm just going to quickly go over it. Creator Plus is a brand new tool that just provides opportunities to be creators. It's desirable, it's engaging, and it allows you to create dynamic content for your students. What's nice is you can add multiple elements or practices to one HTML document. So you can go from delivering content or information in a visually appealing way to having students self-assess their understanding of the content that you just gave them, all in one HTML document. They don't have to leave. You can add other content like video, images, just text, and you can edit that text in any way that you can ever would want to in an HTML document. I've been talking with Brightspace, and some things that are coming is hotspots. So that'll be a nice feature. If you have an image, you can hotspot things on an image in your HTML doc, which I think will be awesome. A tool that I know our course creators in my office really want sooner rather than later, but I hope that's coming soon. And then also data tracking. So right now with a practice, it will allow students to self-assess their learning. It'll let them know, yep, you got them all, you missed this one or that one, you want to try it again. It doesn't connect to your grade book. It doesn't connect to the teacher in any way right now. It's more just engaging self-assessment for our students. I know they are looking at moving toward being able to give that a grade, some type of formative assessment grade on how students did on a certain practice. So, it may not come for a while, but you're here. I thought I'd let you know that might be coming. So a practice is just a creative, formative, and interactive learning activity that lets learners test their comprehension. You have different things like, I think I switched these. I did. Way to go, Towers. All right, so let's flip-flop these. Here we go. So we got drop down, fill in the blank. Here we go. That's better. All right, so practices. You have drop down, fill in the blank. You have fill in the blank. You have multiple select, multiple choice, sequencing, sorting, and true and false. Those are your different practices, ways to self-assess students. And then you have an element is a dynamic. You can add dynamic components to share content with a user-friendly authoring experience. So you have the accordion, you have tabs, you have click and reveal, timeline, stylized quotes, and flip cards. So all really cool ways to share content and information with your students. And like I said, it's an easy creation process. I think one of the best things about it is that preview it gives you and the step-by-step directions that Creator Plus gives you as you're working through it. So very quickly, content, creating Creator Plus content. We head into content. You can select your unit, your lesson, your folder. Typically, we go to create new unless you already have an HTML doc. You would just then select it and edit it. But we're going to create a new HTML doc. And we are going to use this other insert options, right here, the little plus sign. So think of create a plus sign. And then you'll look down and you'll find your practices and your elements. So let's start with, and I'm not going to go through the creation process today, but then you would select the one you want to create. So maybe we want to do a sorting. And you can see here, as I'm creating, it says enter a detailed descriptive title. This text will not display in the learner view of the practice. It appears in the published practice placeholder. So it tells you exactly what you're doing. It takes you through step by step. So I didn't pick a great one, but let's go ahead and cancel that. Plus, let's do an element. Let's do some tabs. What's nice, I like this too. If you're not sure what this does, you just click on the question mark and explains what it does, what this part of the element creation process will do for you. If you were in the sessions this morning, in an element, you have to preview it and then insert it. With a practice, you can preview it if you want to, or you can just straight up insert it. Pretty much what it looks like once you have put it into content, what it looks like in your preview was what it will look like for our students. So that's another nice thing. You don't have to really preview it as a student or change your role or anything like that. You can just look at it. So I have some examples here. So some K-6 examples. You can see here you have kind of a call out box. Then you have some tabs with different information. You can embed videos right in those. And then you have a practice. So we have an element where you're giving the students information, and then you have a practice where they can check their understanding. So I'm going to stop talking for now. I know Morgan has put the attendance link in. I hope you got something out of this. I think there's a lot of great new tools for us to use in Brightspace. Morgan and I are always here to support you, so please reach out, either email or brightspacessupport@aecps.org. Don't forget about all of our support options are on the website and also in the slide deck that we shared at the beginning. So please, yeah, if you want to stick around for a minute, I know we have our wrap-up session coming up and we have a couple minutes left here, so please stick around if you have any questions. But yeah, thanks a lot for being here. We appreciate it. Thanks, Tammy.